With Minnesota and North Dakota schools closed due to the coronavirus, many families in the valley are wondering what is next for children who rely on those school lunches, sometimes the breakfast too. We're lucky to kind of get a last-minute interview here. Joining us Skype because we're practicing our social distancing. Mark Lemur is joining us. He's been helping out with the food services director as the free feeding program is up and running. And Mark, it looks like you were able to talk. Who else do we have with us today?
This is Dana Reith.
Okay.
She is our food service director.
Oh, well, perfect. That's exactly who we need to talk to today. So before we get into the free meals, let's just talk in general. No school this week for Minnesota, North Dakota. Very last minute decision for North Dakota schools. For both of you, talk a little bit about how unusual this is for students, for schools, and maybe the scramble that's maybe going on kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, just to give you an idea about what that scramble is like, I retired as the business manager for the school district, and I've been part-time on some of our construction. And I come back in, I'm working basically full-time through the week to assist our executive leadership team because they are scrambling with the decision-making that needs to be done to get us back into operation. The governor is suggesting that this should be a week of planning with the idea that we may be back in session as early as next week, Monday. And so we are working on the coordination of how we're going to deliver instruction to all of our students, K-12. Some of that may include distance learning with children at home. And so there's a lot of planning that's going on with our core leadership team. And so Dana and I basically are tasked with kind of this one small piece of the work right now, which is how we're going to feed children while they're away from school.
Okay, Mark, I want to come back to that, but we do want to talk to Dana then because it's been a big issue right away. People were like, no school, that means no lunch for so many kids. Can you just talk about how important it is to have something in place? This is sometimes something that, you know, we take for granted, but we shouldn't because there's so many families who need that meal.
Yeah, well, our students rely on us during the school year to have a healthy breakfast and a lunch. So we knew that in this case, we would have to fulfill the need, and we wanted to be out there helping. And so we are going to be handing out breakfast and lunch today on school buses.
Okay, can you talk, how many meals are we talking about? And I know there are a couple different locations maybe. What do people at home watching right now need to know?
Yeah, well, anyone can come. It's for children up to age 18. It can be any child, so it doesn't matter if you're normally free or reduced during the school year. The meals will be free, and we have 6 bus routes going with several stops, and that's starting today at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so what does it take to get this put together? It's Tuesday, which means you worked pretty fast. What are you making? How many meals will be sent out? And how much thought was put into what you could, you know, send out on these buses?
Yeah, well, right now we had to work with food that we had on hand. So we are doing cold sandwiches and a cold breakfast option as well with cereal bars, fruit and milk. The lunch will be sandwiches with a fruit, a vegetable, and a milk. And we are starting with 1,500 servings today. And we will see how it goes from there and make adjustments if needed.
Okay, so I kind of want you to expand on something you just said. You had to use what food you had. Are there, you know, are the shipments, you know, stopped because of the coronavirus scare? Are you getting anything more in?
Well, we always have food, you know, on hand for the week. So we had buns and bread, and so that's how we're doing the sandwiches. But we have reordered some food, so we have more milk coming in to meet all these breakfast and lunch numbers. And we also have ordered more delivery of more shelf-stable cereal bars and prepackaged items that can go in these lunches.
Dana, well,
So
thank you so
much
much.
of the food that we actually would normally receive is designed to be served, you know, hot in our schools. And so that doesn't really work very well to distribute to the community in this manner as a sort of a brown bag grab and go. And so it is going to change up sort of the food that we had delivered. And there may be some challenges, but I think we're kind of up to the task.
Okay, I was going to say, this is really amazing what you guys are doing, getting it put together so fast. But we have another minute here. Mark, I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions about, what's happening. I know food, feeding our children is number one. But a lot of parents are wanting to keep their kids learning on the same routine. What are some of the ideas that are floating around to keep our kids kind of, on routine so they don't get scared about what's happening this week?
Well, a key part of the planning that's going on, unfortunately, it's a little difficult for us to gear up. We found out Sunday night, same time as our parents, that this was going to be kind of a week of planning. But going forward, there are initiatives going on with our secondary schools right now. We have a one-to-one initiative in our middle and high schools. So planning in terms of how we can deliver curriculum to those students if we don't come back into session, let's say for an extended period of time, and then planning at the elementary level. That's a little bit more of a challenge. We're not set up right now with one-to-one devices for elementary school students. And so but there are plans in the works right now too, to determine how we can deliver curriculum remotely and still serve the needs of our children during this period of time. One of the big concerns right now that our special ed department is dealing with is how they actually deliver services to students that have federally mandated IEPs. And that is another key piece of this equation, ensuring that those students have same access to education during this period of time as our regular ed population.
A lot of questions, a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We just appreciate you. It's a time of everyone being a little anxious, not knowing what's going on, and kids and families, their lives kind of upended this week as there's no school. But it's good to hear that you guys are still working and coming up with a plan. We really appreciate it. Dana, Mark, both with the West Fargo School District. Maybe we'll get another update from you guys maybe later in the week as we get another update on every day. Things are changing. So who knows what's going to happen here in a couple of days. But those free lunches are available. You can check our website, valleynewslive.com, to find out the locations. If your family needs those meals, make sure you get them today, or if you know a family in need as well. Thank you guys so much.
You bet.
All right, stay with us. Coming up next, we do a lot with these service dogs for America. And coming up next, an incredible story from one of our sister stations showing just how important those dogs can be.